If you want a reliable way of donating to the Palestinian cause, donate via One Ummah, link in the description.
If anything, the world would be a better place if it had more Israels.
Yes indeed, we are going through the dumbest video made on the whole Israel-Palestine issue, and it is courtesy of Bill Maher. Assalamu alaikum guys, and welcome to another episode of Smile to Jannah. Bill Maher has taken the biscuit in giving the most strangest spin to the Israeli aggression. He went on a sanctimonious speech on how amazing the West is because of liberalism and how Israel is a part of that, mate.
Individual liberty, scientific inquiry, rule of law, religious freedom, women's rights, human rights, democracy, trial by jury, freedom of speech. Please, somebody stop us before we enlighten again.
Now what's ironic is, Grandpa doesn't realize that these principles don't apply to Palestinians. In fact, what if we go to more fundamental principles and then ask questions? Like, how about the right of a Palestinian child, Bill, not to be bombed? How about the right of Palestinians not to be nuked? And how about the right of Palestinian civilians being able to sleep in peace?
We call in the military making our presence felt. Break into a house. It's not a house we have intelligence about. A random house. Wake up the family, search the place, finish, go out to the street, knock on some doors, make some noise, run to the other corner of the street, invade another house, wake up the family, search. And that's basically how you pass your 8-hour shift. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Every Palestinian needs to feel the military is right here.
But it seems that this liberal country with progressive values doesn't necessarily agree with you there, Bill.
We will bomb Shifa Hospital, all the hospitals, all the tunnels, and kill them all. It's about time.
And not to mention that these principles have evolved over centuries and been shaped by various cultures, religions, and philosophies. And I don't think a single academic would concede that the Enlightenment gave birth to these principles. And if you concede that no, they didn't, then the other civilizations of the past are as enlightened as the one that you mentioned.
And since one can find all these concepts in today's Israel and virtually nowhere else in the Middle East, if anything, the world would be a better place if it had more Israels.
In other words, hey guys, they're just like us. The same nonsense that we saw with the whole Ukraine-Russia thing. Look, Ukraine's in Europe, so we need to feel sorry for them. They're not like the brownies over there, mate.
You know, this is a relatively civilized, relatively European, I have to choose those words carefully too, city where you wouldn't expect that or hope that it's going to happen.
Bill, what about the violation of international law and genocide?
Shut it, mate. I said they're like us. That's all there is to the matter.
So, Bill, are you saying that being liberal means it's okay for you to flout international law and be a genocide enabler? Because that didn't seem to work for the likes of Russia and even leaders of the past, like Allende of Chile, Jacobo Arbenz of Guatemala, Mohammad Mossadegh of Iran. And frankly, I don't care if the white man made oxygen, plastic cups, and gave rights to dolphins. If you're attacking civilians,
the war is not just with Hamas. The war is with all the civilians.
And committing crimes against humanity, you, my friend, are a piece of dirty. And so are you for supporting them, Bill.
Martin Luther King used Henry David Thoreau's essay Civil Disobedience to help shape the civil rights movement.
Yeah, but who was he speaking against? And which philosophy were his oppressors following? Weren't they liberals? The same liberals that you're fetishizing over.
The cop who murdered George Floyd got 21 years for violating his Fourth Amendment rights, an idea we got directly from John Locke.
Ah yes, a cop who felt emboldened by the liberal system. And then we clap because the same system that emboldened him was needed to sling him in prison. And for how long, I hear you ask? Yeah, about 20 years, frankly. And by the way, Locke was a Christian, yeah? I know you're an atheist and you believe in secularism and all that. Locke didn't believe in that.
If it was, would they be cheering on Hamas for their liberation? Liberation? To do what? More freely preside over a country where there are no laws against sexual harassment, spousal rape, domestic violence, homophobia?
Aha! So if Hamas isn't doing what you expect them to do, according to your liberal worldview, then it's okay to bomb the civilians who voted for them out of desperation. Is that what you're saying, Bill? That if somebody doesn't accept homosexuality, then it's okay? It's open season on them, mate. I don't understand what happened to the human rights you mentioned a couple of minutes ago. Apparently they don't apply over here, mate, because they don't believe what you believe. Sounds a bit dogmatic and extremist to me, mate.
Partitioning of the region wasn't decided by Jews, but by a vote of the United Nations in 1947, with everyone from Russia to Haiti voting for it.
Oh, how convenient for you to start at 1947, mate. Why not start at the Balfour Declaration, where the UK gave that land away to the people that it didn't belong to, frankly? No? What about 1 year later, the Nakba that followed because of this? And what about the countless UN resolutions that the Israelis just don't like following? In fact, they don't even like the UN.
It is true that for too long, we didn't study enough Asian or African or Latin American history. But part of the reason for that is, frankly, there's not as much to study.
Asian, African, and Latin American history is so culturally rich, and it spans millennia with diverse civilizations, cultures, and global impacts. Neglecting these regions' histories perpetuates an inaccurate Eurocentric perspective and overlooks the interconnectedness of world history. Bill here seems to be promoting white supremacy.
No, they didn't live up to their own ideals for far too long and committed atrocities, but people back then were all atrocious. Not just the white ones, depending on who had the power.
This, we committed atrocities, but so did others. Why can't this be applied to Hamas then? They're fighting terror with terror. They've got the same philosophy as you, Bill. What's the difference between the people that you're defending and them? Is it their belief? No? Is it the color of their skin? Well, what else could it be, Bill? You tell me.
Why is it that every other culture gets a pass, but the West is exclusively the sum of the worst things it's ever done? You think only white people colonized? Historians estimate that the very non-Western Mr. Genghis Khan killed 40 million people, and that was in the 13th century.
Ah, so you're saying it's okay for Hamas to do what they're doing because donkeys years ago, a bloke called Genghis Khan killed way more people? Or are you saying it's okay for Israel to do what they're doing because, again, donkeys years ago, some bloke got angry and killed way more people? So in conclusion, Bill is granting a pass to Israel because they follow the same things as the West. The non-West don't have a rich history like the West, and there were some bad people in the past that did some way more bad things.
Allow it, Wasteman.
And to think that this guy gets watched by millions and gets put on mainstream television. May God help us all. Let's leave it there, guys. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum.